Good morning, families. Today we're going to talk about bubbles, and all of the children on my caseload love bubbles. They love working for bubbles and they love playing with bubbles. Today we're going to do the kitchen utensil experiment, and what you need is to go in your kitchen and to find different utensils that may be able to produce bubbles. So I grabbed a whisk, a slotted spoon, and then a slotted spatula. And what you're going to need to do is either get a bowl or a pot full of bubble solution. So if you have pre-made bubble solution, you can just pour that into the bowl. If not, warm water and dish soap is also a great alternative. And then you're just going to play with your child. So you would dip maybe the spatula in the bubble solution and wave it around to see if it makes bubbles. Just a little tip, if you have a bubble wand handy, I would keep that right around your experiment because sometimes they don't always make bubbles. So you would want to definitely have something on hand that will make bubbles for your child. If I were doing this activity with my students, I would then go ahead and make something like this. So I have the spoon, the whisk, and the spatula here. And then as we were experimenting, maybe with the spoon, we would say, did the spoon make bubbles? Yes, it made bubbles, and we would glue that down. If it didn't make bubbles, we would stick this one here, no bubbles for the spoon. Maybe the bubbles, it did make bubbles and they were little bubbles, so we could talk about how they were little bubbles and glue this underneath. The spoon made the little bubbles. The spatula could have made big bubbles. And these are visuals that I use with the children already. And I just glued on or stuck on bubbles on the big and the little box there. And I know that we're talking about the sizes of bubbles. For some of my really little friends, I do use like a language board like this, and we were talking about where, a WH question goal, where did the bubbles pop? And we're also talking about body parts and the word on. So the bubbles could have popped on your feet, the bubbles popped on your arm, and I would intentionally blow bubbles close enough to them so that they would pop somewhere on their body, so we can start formulating sentences and working on those skills. Another great thing to use with this is you can ask them, where do you want the bubbles to pop? And they may say, on my feet. And you're gonna blow bubbles right on their feet so they pop on their feet. For some of our really little friends, they may just be requesting, I want bubbles. Or somehow initiating that they want bubbles. So a lot of times I use something like this where they then count 1, 2, 3, go. And then I'll blow the bubbles for them and they'll run around and pop them with their fingers or stomp on them when they land in the grass. And then they'll come back and say, I want more bubbles. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. So they're also working on their number identification and counting to 3. Also, for those little friends, if you do have like a little bubble one like this, you can also buy the bigger version of them, and you can talk about sizes. I want the big bubbles or I want the little bubbles, and then you can blow the bubbles out once they request. This is just a fun activity that you can do outdoors. We love it when children learn through play, but we also have to be intentional about what we want them to learn sometimes. I'm going to link some of the visuals that I showed you today on the OneNote, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye.